The freezing rain pounded the streets of Manhattan as Benjamin stepped out of his limo, his designer coat barely shielding him from the downpour. He never expected that handing his black credit card to the shivering gay single dad huddled with his son would unravel the biggest secret of his life. Benjamin Caldwell had built an empire from nothing, turning a college coding project into a billion-dollar tech firm that everyone in New York knew by name. At 34, he was the face of quiet success, openly gay and unapologetic about it in boardrooms. Yet something always felt missing in the quiet nights of his penthouse overlooking Central Park. That afternoon, the charity event he had just left him restless, so he told his driver to pull over near the subway entrance on Fifth Avenue. The man under the makeshift cardboard shelter caught his eye first because of the small boy clutching a threadbare blanket beside him. Eli Thompson looked up, his once familiar blue eyes now hollow with exhaustion, and Benjamin felt the ground shift beneath him. It was Eli, the same Eli from their sophomore year at NYU, the one who had disappeared after promising forever. "Take this," Benjamin said, his voice steady despite the storm inside. He pressed the unlimited black Amex into Eli's calloused palm. "Use it for whatever you and the kid need. No limits, no questions. Just get off the street tonight." Eli stared at the card as if it might burn him, rain dripping from his dark hair onto the plastic. "Benjamin? Is that really you?" The words came out hoarse, barely audible over the traffic. Beside him, 6-year-old Micah shivered and tugged at his father's worn jacket. "Dad, who is this man?" Eli pulled his son closer, the weight of 15 years of regret crashing down in a single moment. He remembered the last time he saw Benjamin, the night he chose fear over love, telling his conservative family he would fix himself by dating a woman they approved of. That choice led to a short marriage, Micah's birth, and then the slow unraveling when his wife passed and he finally admitted who he was. His parents cut him off completely, jobs dried up because of whispers about his identity, and here he was, homeless in the city that once held all their dreams. Benjamin knelt down, ignoring the puddles soaking his Italian leather shoes. "It's me. And I mean it, Eli. Take the card. Get a hotel, food, clothes for both of you. I'll have my assistant send more help tomorrow if you want." Eli's hand trembled as he closed his fingers around the plastic. Part of him wanted to throw it back, to preserve the pride he had left, but Micah's cold fingers on his arm reminded him what mattered most. "Thank you," he whispered, the words thick with unshed tears. They parted in the rain, Benjamin climbing back into the limo with a knot in his chest he hadn't felt since college. Eli found a cheap motel that night using the card for the first time, the clerk's eyes widening at the black Amex. Micah slept soundly for the first time in months while Eli sat on the edge of the bed staring at the card. Memories flooded him. Late-night study sessions turning into stolen kisses in the dorm, Benjamin's laugh when they talked about sailing away together someday. The way his touch had made Eli feel seen for the first time. Then the fear had won. His father's voice still echoed, "No son of mine will live that life." Eli had tried to bury it all, but now the card in his hand felt like a second chance wrapped in guilt. The next morning, after feeding Micah pancakes at a diner, Eli walked the streets with purpose. He couldn't just take handouts forever. Benjamin had given him a lifeline, but Eli needed to prove he was still the man who once dreamed big beside him. He pulled out his old phone and searched for something meaningful, something that would show he remembered. By afternoon, he stood outside a luxury watchmaker on Madison Avenue, heart pounding. The decision was made. He would use the card for one thing only, something that spoke louder than words ever could. The watchmaker's shop smelled of polished leather and old money, the kind of place Eli had only seen in magazines during better days. Micah held his hand tightly as they stepped inside, the boy's eyes wide at the sparkling displays. "Dad, are we really allowed in here?" Eli squeezed his son's fingers. "Today we are, buddy. Someone gave us a chance." The clerk, a polished woman in her 50s, raised an eyebrow at their appearance but softened when Eli placed the black card on the counter. "I need something custom," he said quietly. "A pocket watch. Platinum. Engrave the back with To my anchor in the storm, Billionaire 2010. And inside the lid, the coordinates of the old boathouse on the Hudson where we first talked about forever. The woman's fingers paused over her tablet. The price tag flashed on screen, $285,000. She looked up, expecting hesitation, but Eli met her gaze without flinching. Use the card. All of it. The transaction went through in minutes, the machine beeping its approval. Eli signed the slip with a steady hand, feeling both terrified and free for the first time in years. As they left the shop, Micah asked, "What's the watch for, Dad?" Eli knelt on the sidewalk, rain from last night still glistening on the pavement. "It's for someone who saved us without knowing how much he once meant to me. It's a way to say thank you and sorry at the same time." Back at the motel, Eli wrapped the elegant box carefully. He hadn't planned to see Benjamin again so soon, but the watch felt like the only honest thing he could offer. Meanwhile, across town in his glass-walled office, Benjamin's assistant burst in. "Sir, the card just hit a $250,000 charge at Harrison and Sons. Luxury watch. I flagged it as possible fraud, but the signature matches the man you helped yesterday. Should I cancel?" Benjamin's heart stopped. He remembered the coordinates instantly. The exact spot where he and Eli had shared their first real kiss under the stars 15 years ago. "No," he said, voice tight. "Let it go through. And get my car ready. I need to find him." The news spread faster than either man expected. A tabloid blogger who monitored high-net-worth transactions picked up the alert through a contact at the bank. By evening, headlines whispered across social media. Caldwell Billionaire's card used for mystery luxury purchase? Homeless recipient? Eli and Micah were eating takeout when the first call came from an unknown number. Eli ignored it, but when a second reporter left a voicemail asking for comment on the romantic gesture, he realized the purchase had already changed everything. Panic rose in his chest. He hadn't meant for the world to see. He only wanted Benjamin to understand that the love never died, even when Eli had run. That night, Benjamin stood outside the motel door, the box from the watchmaker now in his own hands after the front desk confirmed the room. He knocked softly. Eli opened it, Micah asleep behind him on the bed. Their eyes met again, and the years melted away. "You bought this for me," Benjamin said, voice cracking as he opened the lid and read the inscription. "After everything I let you go through alone." Eli stepped into the hallway, closing the door gently. "I owed you more than a thank you. I owed you the truth. I was scared back then, Benjamin. My family made me believe loving you would destroy me. But it destroyed me anyway when I left." Tears stung Benjamin's eyes. "I looked for you for years. Then I saw you on the street and I couldn't walk away again." They talked until dawn, voices low to not wake Micah, sharing the pieces of their separate lives. Eli spoke of the marriage that felt like a cage, the joy of becoming a father, the crushing grief when his wife died and the relief mixed with shame when he finally came out. Benjamin shared the empire he built to fill the hole Eli left, the relationships that never quite fit because none of them were him. By morning, the tabloids had more fuel. Someone snapped a photo of Benjamin leaving the motel. The internet exploded with speculation about the gay billionaire and the mysterious single dad. Eli read the articles on his phone while Micah watched cartoons, fear gripping him. "They're saying I used you," he told Benjamin over the phone later. "That I tricked you for money." Benjamin's answer was immediate. "Let them talk. I know the truth. And I'm not letting you face this alone again." The following weeks blurred into a whirlwind neither man had prepared for. Benjamin moved Eli and Micah into a quiet apartment in Brooklyn, paid for with his own money this time, insisting it was no longer charity but a fresh start. Eli accepted only because Micah needed stability, but the internal battle raged. Every night he lay awake wondering if he deserved this kindness after the way he had abandoned Benjamin. "You don't owe me anything," Benjamin told him one evening over coffee in the new kitchen. "But I need to know if the man I loved is still in there somewhere." Eli looked at the pocket watch on the table between them, the inscription catching the light. "He never left. I just hid him to survive. Micah adjusted slowly to the new life. He loved the warm bed and the park nearby, but questions came. Why does Benjamin look at you like that, Dad? Eli sat his son down one afternoon in the small living room, heart hammering. Because we were best friends a long time ago, and we cared about each other very much. Like how grown-ups sometimes love each other in special ways. The boy nodded thoughtfully. Okay. He seems nice. The simple acceptance from his son gave Eli courage he hadn't felt in years. But outside their safe bubble, the world pressed in. Eli's parents saw the tabloid stories and reached out for the first time since the funeral. His father's email was short and cold. We saw the news. If you're using that man to get money for our grandson, we will fight for custody. A boy needs a real family. The words reopened old wounds. Eli read them aloud to Benjamin that night, voice shaking. They still think loving you makes me unfit. Benjamin pulled him into a hug, strong arms steady after so many years apart. We'll face them together if it comes to that. But first, you need to decide what you want for yourself, not for them. The misunderstanding came sooner than expected. Benjamin's business partner, an old-school investor, pulled him aside after a board meeting. This homeless guy and the watch purchase, it's making investors nervous. Looks like a scandal waiting to happen. Fix it or the merger talks could collapse. Benjamin refused to back down. Eli is not a scandal. He's the reason I kept going all these years. He walked out of the meeting, sacrificing a multimillion-dollar deal without hesitation. When he told Eli later, the younger man's eyes filled with guilt. I'm costing you everything again. Benjamin cupped his face gently. You're giving me back what I lost. That's worth more than any deal. Their connection deepened through quiet moments, walks in the park with Micah, late-night talks about dreams they once shared. Eli started job hunting, determined to contribute, while Benjamin helped him update his resume and even introduced him to contacts who didn't care about the headlines. Yet the internal crisis lingered for Eli. One night he stood on the apartment balcony staring at the city lights. What if I'm still the same scared kid who ran away? What if I hurt you again? Benjamin joined him, shoulder brushing his. We're not kids anymore. We choose every day now. And I choose you if you'll let me. The kiss that followed was soft, full of years of waiting, a promise sealed without words. Micah slept soundly inside, unaware that his father was finally allowing himself to heal. Family pressure reached its peak when Eli's parents arrived unannounced at the Brooklyn apartment. His mother hugged Micah tightly while his father glared at Benjamin across the living room. We came to take our grandson home, the older man said. This arrangement isn't healthy for him. Two men playing house after everything you put our family through. Eli stepped forward, voice calm but firm. Micah is my son. I'm his father, and I love him more than anything. Benjamin has given us safety and kindness. You cut me off when I needed you most. Don't pretend you care now. The argument stretched for hours. Micah cried in his room while the adults raised voices. Benjamin stayed silent at first, respecting Eli's fight. But when Eli's father accused him of buying affection, Benjamin spoke. I gave the card because I recognized the man I never stopped loving. The watch was Eli's way of reminding me that love doesn't disappear even when people try to kill it. Your son is brave for surviving what you put him through. Eli's mother softened first, tears in her eyes as she watched her grandson peek from the hallway. We were wrong to turn our backs, she admitted quietly. But we were scared too. The conversation didn't end in hugs, but it ended in a fragile truce. Eli's parents left without Micah, promising to talk again soon. The experience left Eli drained yet stronger. I stood up to them, he told Benjamin later as they sat on the couch after tucking Micah in. Because of you. Because I finally believe I deserve this life. Societal judgment continued online. Comments flooded every article. Some supportive of the gay couple's story, others cruel about Eli's past and Benjamin's wealth. One viral post called it the ultimate sugar daddy scam. Benjamin's PR team offered to fight back, but Eli asked them not to. Let people think what they want. We know the truth. Instead, they focused inward. Benjamin took time off work, something he hadn't done in years, and the three of them drove upstate for a weekend at a quiet cabin. There, away from cameras, they built fires, roasted marshmallows with Micah, and talked about the future. Eli opened up about his fears of being a good father while figuring out his own identity. I want Micah to grow up knowing love isn't something to hide. Benjamin shared his own vulnerabilities. I built walls after you left. Being out publicly was easy compared to letting someone in again. But with you, the walls are gone. On the last night, under a sky full of stars, Benjamin pulled out the pocket watch. This meant everything to me. But I want more than memories. I want us to build new ones, together, as a family if you'll have me. Eli's answer came in a kiss that sealed years of pain into something beautiful. Back in the city, small steps forward continued. Eli landed a part-time job at a community center helping other struggling families, using his own story to give hope. Benjamin's company recovered from the lost deal because investors saw the human side of their CEO and respected the loyalty. Yet one more misunderstanding tested them. A former colleague of Eli's from before the homelessness spread a rumor that Eli had planned the encounter on the street to target Benjamin. The lie reached Micah's new school, and the boy came home in tears. Kids said, "You're only with Benjamin for money, Dad." Eli held his son close. "That's not true, buddy. I loved him before any of this happened." The crisis forced them to confront the past publicly. Benjamin called a small press conference, Eli standing beside him. "The card was an act of recognition and kindness," Benjamin said. "The watch was Eli's courage. Our story is real, and we're not ashamed." The simple honesty quieted most critics and brought unexpected support from the LGBTQ community. Eli felt the weight lift. For the first time, he believed he could have both love and respect without sacrificing one for the other. The turning point arrived during a quiet evening when Micah asked to see the pocket watch again. As Eli opened the lid, the boy traced the coordinates with his small finger. "This is where you and Benjamin were happy before, right?" Eli nodded, throat tight. "Yes. And now we're making new happy places." That conversation unlocked something deep inside Eli. He realized he had been waiting for permission to fully embrace who he was, not just as a father but as a man in love. He sat Benjamin down the next morning. "I want to move in with you officially, not because of the apartment or the money, but because I'm ready to stop running." Benjamin's smile lit the room. "I've been waiting for you to say that since the rain on Fifth Avenue." The move brought new challenges. Benjamin's penthouse was beautiful but intimidating for Micah, who missed the cozy Brooklyn feel. Eli worked extra hours at the community center to prove he could contribute, sometimes coming home exhausted. One night, the exhaustion turned into doubt. "What if I'm not enough for this life?" he confessed while they cooked dinner together. Benjamin turned off the stove and pulled him close. "You are everything." The watch proved that before any of this. Their bond grew through the ordinary moments. Helping Micah with homework, weekend baseball games in the park, quiet evenings where they simply held hands on the couch. Yet external forces tested them again. Benjamin received an invitation to a high-profile gala where investors expected him to appear with a suitable date. Bringing Eli and Micah would send a clear message. "I'm not hiding anymore," Benjamin told him. "Come with me. Both of you." The night of the gala arrived with nerves and excitement. Eli wore a tailored suit Benjamin had helped choose, Micah in a miniature version looking proud. Cameras flashed as they walked the red carpet together. Whispers followed, but so did genuine smiles from strangers who recognized the story from the news. Inside, one investor pulled Benjamin aside. "You're risking a lot showing them off like this." Benjamin met the man's eyes. "I risked more by living without them. This is who I am." Eli overheard and felt pride swell. Later, on the dance floor, they swayed slowly while Micah watched from the table with a chaperone. "I never thought I'd get to do this openly," Eli whispered. Thank you for giving me the courage." The evening ended in triumph, but the real victory came days later when Eli's parents called. His mother's voice was softer. "We saw the pictures. We were wrong to judge. We'd like to meet our grandson properly, if you'll let us." Eli agreed on his terms, with Benjamin by his side. The meeting was awkward at first but ended with tentative hugs and promises of future visits. Eli cried that night, not from sadness but from the release of years of carrying their rejection. "I thought I'd lost them forever," he told Benjamin. "You helped me find my way back to them and to myself." The sacrifice Benjamin made earlier with the business deal paid off in unexpected ways. The company rebounded stronger because the story of loyalty humanized the brand. Employees started sharing their own coming-out stories in company forums. Eli's work at the community center expanded into a paid role mentoring young LGBTQ parents. Life felt balanced for the first time. Yet one final internal battle remained for Eli. He still carried guilt over the years he spent away. "I wasted so much time," he said during a walk in Central Park, Micah running ahead with a kite. Benjamin stopped him under the same trees where they had first reconnected. "Time brought us here. Every choice led to this moment with our son laughing and us together. That's not waste. That's growth." Spring arrived in New York with cherry blossoms lining the sidewalks, mirroring the new beginning Eli and Benjamin had built. They stood on the balcony of the penthouse one evening, Micah asleep inside after a long day at school. Eli turned the pocket watch over in his hands, the engraving still as clear as the day he bought it. "This watch started everything," he said softly. "But you started the real change the moment you gave me the card in the rain." Benjamin smiled, pulling him closer. "And you reminded me what courage looks like when you used it for something meaningful instead of yourself." Their journey had taken them through streets of doubt, family storms, public judgment, and private fears, but each step forged them stronger. Eli had learned to accept help without shame and to love openly as both father and partner. Benjamin discovered that true success wasn't measured in billions but in the family he finally had. Micah thrived, confident in a home filled with honest love. Friends from their old college days reached out, amazed at the reunion. Even Eli's parents visited regularly, slowly rebuilding trust. One weekend they all drove to the Hudson boathouse whose coordinates were engraved inside the watch. The three of them stood on the dock as the sun set, Micah skipping stones while Eli and Benjamin held hands. "This is where it began," Eli said. "And where it begins again." Benjamin slipped a simple band onto Eli's finger, not an engagement in the traditional sense but a promise. "Forever my anchor," he whispered, echoing the inscription. Eli's eyes shone. "And you're mine." Life wasn't perfect. Society still had questions, work still demanded time, and parenting brought its challenges. But they faced each day together, choosing love over fear every time. The emotional growth had been hard-won, filled with misunderstandings that tested trust and sacrifices that proved commitment. Yet the awakening was complete. Two men who once hid now stood proud, raising a son who would never have to hide. As the stars appeared over the water, Eli felt peace settle deep in his chest. The card, the watch, the rain, the years apart, all of it had led to this moment of family and belonging. True love between two men could survive anything when both chose to fight for it. True or false? Coming out and choosing love is always worth the risk of losing everything else?